Take a seat, sit back, and relax, because you are listening to Real Talk Radio, where the talk gets real. Welcome to Big Brother All-Star
Week 8 recap. Welcome everybody to Real Talk Radio. This is your boy Justin JLB. It is BB Talk Week 8 recap, and what a week of nothing, perhaps, because there wasn't a lot going on, but yet there was. So it was a very interesting week, to say the least. We, of course, will get to all of that, but I, of course, am joined by my BB fanatics. Unfortunately, Stephanie isn't here this week. She had some other duties to attend to. Baby is always hard, and we wish nothing but the best for Brady there. But I still got my other BB fanatic with me, CICI.
Hey, it goes well. Excited to get down to the nitty gritty here. How was your week?
Yeah, week was good. First week of Montreal lockdown, so that's always fun, you know.
Red, wear your masks, people. Wear your masks.
Wear your mask, wash your hands and your bodies. Some people think you just wash your hands now, but should definitely still keep doing a regular wash, people. That
Hygiene
joke
is important.
Hygiene is definitely important. Absolutely. We're not here to talk about hygiene, because we can certainly convince people and try to preach to the choir about how hygiene is important, but I believe people came here for some Big Brother talk, and yeah, what a week indeed. I guess maybe I would just go with, for now, so if you had to sum up this week in 3 words or less, what would you say?
3 words. God, that's torture.
Yep. That's the idea.
Expected, unsurprising, little bit boring.
Oh, damn. All right. Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I think the triple eviction, you know, we knew that was coming. I think that there was a lot of hype around that. A lot of action happened, but I wasn't really like rah 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 about the whole week. So what are your 3 words?
So yeah, I'm gonna have to say expected, generic. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of along the lines of boring words, because the only thing I really like is maybe the whole 10 grand sitch that we'll get to. That I kind of found myself being more excited by, and obviously the triple eviction definitely boosted some things up, and got a few people that we figured, and one person that I was so happy for, but we will certainly get there. But yeah, it's pretty much the same as you, though. Very, very generic, at least throughout the week. Once it got to Thursday, it obviously it had to ramp up. And I think, thank God, Big Brother did that, or else I think this would have been one of the more boring weeks of Big Brother, and we're already halfway through. And so, yeah, let's get to it.
Sounds good.
So basically, obviously, this episode basically starts with the house guests reacting to Dr. Will being their next door neighbor. That's always fun. That's how we left off. We also see that Dani was kind of conflicted on maybe perhaps wanting to use the replay power. She had spoken to Memphis about it, and Memphis was kind of like, no, I don't want you to use the replay power. I want to lay low. I'm good.
Yeah. He didn't want any of the potential backlash.
That's it.
He didn't want any of the rumors. I think smart move. I think good call by Memphis. I think Dani might be just a little bit bummed that it just never got used. But she could have used it on her HOH. That's the other competition she won. She could have used it. She didn't use it. Too bad, so sad. So yeah, so like that was the time. I think she wanted to use this to do, you know, what we've been seeing Dani do all season, which is make a move, blame it on somebody else, and then take credit in her speech at the end in the final two, right? So she was going to try to use it and twist it to manipulate some chaos in the house. So I think Memphis was just really smart. Like, doesn't benefit me in any way. I'm really not at risk. I don't need to draw this attention to me. So I think it was a good move.
A very non-floater move.
Yeah, I know. I'm almost convinced. We'll get to why later in the week, but whatever.
For sure. So the house guests are playing HOH. It is called Going for the Green. So they must putt a golf ball to get the lowest score. And as Dr. Will had mentioned to us, that you can either go for prizes or for the gold, meaning the head of household thing. So essentially, the lowest score is going to win, as in golf. If you don't play, lowest score is always the best, the least putts the possible. So as I mentioned, the twist, they get 3 attempts. So they get 3 attempts essentially to try and score their lowest score, or they have the option to win, to go for the $10,000, same sort of deal, to get the lowest score possible in order to do that. So you have one side for the 10 grand, and you have the other side for the HOH and 3 attempts. So certainly you should use them wisely. Of course, it was no secret that Danny was going to try to go for the 10 grand. And Tyler seemed pretty excited too as well. He certainly felt that he was in a good spot, and honestly didn't really need to really go for the HOH, because of course everyone is just playing it safe, which I also kind of get as well. Ultimately, Cody wins though, as he got a score of 2.
Yeah, which was impressive. I was really happy to see kind of players using those 3 shots kind of wisely, splitting it between the 2. But we got to talk about what happened to Kevin, because he putted and he got 5. So Cody got 2, so would have beat him anyway.
Right.
But he got a 5, which at that time when they showed it in the edits, he would have been well ahead. And then he shot again and got almost the worst score on the board.
Yeah.
So really felt, I was so heartbroken for him in that moment, because it's like, better than that. David also made the exact same mistake.
Yes. So David was doing pretty decent, and then he's like, no, I'm going to try. Like, why? Like, 5 is, especially for Kevin, 5, I don't remember what David's score was, but it was around that low number. Yeah. But Kevin, I'm like, bro, you got a 5. Like, you've been on the block this whole, like, these last 5 weeks. Like, and you get a 5. This is a message from God that you should probably stop, because it's like, and then he just decides to go again. Like, I get it. He probably was really excited and but
he just thought it wasn't going to be good enough. And Memphis reshot on a 5 because he thought he might accidentally win.
Right. Again, he didn't want it. He legit did not want it at all. He's like, I got a 5. No, let me try to botch this completely. But yet he doesn't even try to go for the money at all. Like, whoa, this guy really is trying to play it safe completely.
Yeah, completely. Under the radar.
He does, like, I guess he doesn't care for money, because he was just like, I'm good. Like, don't worry about it. Just give me that 500 grand at the end of the day.
Exactly. That's the real prize.
Yeah, that's the real prize for sure. However, so Danny and Tyler were being selfish and going for the prize, and they both end up getting a score of 3. So they each get $5,000 each. Both are bummed by it. And someone who's also bummed, not because of the grand prize, but because of Cody winning, is Miss Christmas.
Oh my gosh. Her reaction, there are 4 people who feel safe enough to go for money. I was just, girl, yeah. Like, are you out of your mind here? You're in the majority alliance. You really should understand why some people might go for some cash.
Yeah, like, straight up. And I don't know, like, she is now seemingly more comfortable with showing her true self and how she acts. Or I don't know, maybe they're just showing us more of her, showing these expressions and so on and so forth. But she looked like she had the looks that wanted to kill, and she was just pissed off.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this will come up more as we talk because yeah, you're right. Her shield is down. There
Down.
is
We heard.
some serious judging happening. This like really intense competitive. I don't know what's going on. Yes, very evident in that moment.
So with this, Dani tries to convince Cody, hey, maybe you should nominate Christmas because she has a mean mug. So Dani clearly still going for Christmas. These two girls are still going after each other in a secretive way, but also just kind of more letting more of the house know. Nicole walks into Enzo in the bathroom, and that's that.
That was hilarious. Just good old comedy gold.
That's it. So I appreciated that. That was at first I was like, wait, what happened? Why didn't Nicole flip out? And then I'm like, oh, Enzo was in the bathroom. I'm like, Enzo, close the door, bro.
Just
One
lock
job.
the door. There is a lock. I'm pretty sure there's a lock.
There's definitely a lock. Enzo just doesn't know how to use bidets and lock doors, apparently.
He's such a dad.
Yeah, for sure. Enzo reveals to Memphis the double wise guy alliance. Embo reveals Memphis' double wise guy alliance to Cody completely to try to convince him not to go for an easy target like Kevin or David, but instead, in fact, also take out Christmas. I guess, Christmas is kind of, sort of that Memphis role where she can be easily expendable, at least to a lot of the guys. Memphis is in that. Well, keep in mind, right? Enzo, Cody, and Tyler have like a final 3-2 deal going. So they're obviously going to try to keep each other safe. And like we mentioned last week, no one necessarily cares about Memphis, but yet still, leaving him there.
Yeah, nobody's really like invested in the relationship with Memphis. But Memphis isn't really invested in those relationships either, right?
Right.
I think this was a good move by Enzo. Give Cody the heads up, kind of finalize that, and kind of try to put himself in the middle of that. But yeah, him talking about Christmas is definitely a good start for some committee breakup here.
Absolutely, and I just love their bromance completely. They're so comfortable with each other. They could tell each other anything. Enzo is just very chalant, like, whatever, bro. Like, it's fine, it's cool. And Cody's just like, yeah, man, I understand, I get it. Like, they have this bond where they could just be so chillaxed with each other when giving any kind of news, because there's just ultimate trust there. And it's like, don't worry, I know I got you, and you got me. Like, what's good? What's happening here?
And it really stops the paranoia, I think, between those two too. I think one of the reasons that bond is so good is because they kind of share everything, knowing that anything they share is game, which also means that anything they hear is like, if someone was trying to get in between them, like it just wouldn't fly.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. So that's cool to see. So basically, Cody fills Nicole in on his plan to take out Kevin. So Cody's, wait, did we get to? No, not yet. Okay, not yet. So Cody fills Nicole on his plan to take out Kevin with Christmas as his possible replacement nominee if Kevin gets taken off the block. She's convinced, though, that Cody is just doing Dani's dirty work, and that basically Cody is just playing Dani's game and not his own. But Dani, Jesus, so many names. And Cody's just reassuring her, like, no, listen, like, I want her out, though, as well. She's really rubbing me the wrong way. And Cody also does tell Nicole about Memphis's double alliance. So Memphis's alliance is just really, really not a secret anymore. And he did the committee well, but these alliances, not so much.
And this is kind of why I'm almost convinced he's not a floater, but this right here is why I'm like, no, he got himself in a good position and then he floated on a really nice raft, So that's where it's coming from, right? Because he doesn't have any real relationships. He doesn't include the committee in his decisions in the past. So, it's kind of, he's playing his own game on his own, and he just built himself a nice little raft.
Right? Yeah, but not a floater. Yes, he's floating, but he built this raft that was so comfortable that it's like, hey, everyone trusts me. Because again, if he would have built this raft, it maybe still could have broken. Each log could have. Okay, I'm going to stop with the analogy.
It's true, but I like that. He's floating, but not a floater. I will accept that. I'll accept that. I think
Thank
that's.
you.
I think
Fair.
we can we can come to a compromise there.
We can definitely come to a compromise for sure. All right,
Yeah.
that's fair. Kevin visits Cody in the HOH room and tries to convince him not to put him on the block. Kevin tells Cody that if he is targeted, he won't vote Cody to win. And the conversation gets heated when Kevin tells Cody, you know what? Oh, I don't forgot what he said, but he said something demeaning along the lines of not everything surrounds and not everything in the world surrounds you, Cody, or something like that, which I felt came out of nowhere. And then Cody was just like, well, why do you have to say that? Like, well, why are you being hurtful and trying to demean me and all that? Like, so obviously that ticked Cody off and ultimately eluded for Cody to put up Kevin and David. Kevin because of the argument, and David just because.
Yep. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Um,
And then David is just kind of like chill, like oh, okay, like whatever, I'm here. So
Well, because Cody also had a conversation with David before Kevin, like letting David know that you're probably going up, but I think it's time for somebody else. Did Cody loop David in on the possible backdoor on Christmas? Not sure. Don't think so.
I feel like he wouldn't even do that. Cody, David is so like he's kind of a loose cannon in that regard. You can't really
loose lip.
trust him. Loose lip, rather. Yeah. So I don't think so. Kevin isn't surprised that he is nominated for the 5th time. David is annoyed to be on the block, like we mentioned. Dani, though, tells Nicole she hopes she gets to play for a chance to win prizes and wants to see Christmas as a replacement nominee. So everyone is throwing Christmas's name out there. And yeah, so it's seemingly I'm thinking more along the lines of, okay, maybe Christmas is gonna go up. Like finally, I'm done with her snobbish attitude, and maybe she can leave. But Nicole's kind of against the idea. She doesn't want to lose more female players, and admits in the diary room that she doesn't want to go along with any more of Dani's plans either that ultimately hurt her game. So she's feeling that she's being used by Dani.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually really proud of Nicole. For that. For acknowledging it, for accepting it. She mentioned she was put in some tight spots because of Dani's schemes, and she just doesn't want to play this way. And I don't know that Nicole can get herself to the final 2 with the game she has been and wants to play. But at least she's owning it as like, I need to take a little bit of my own control here. I would like to see her do a little bit more independent work from Dani, but we'll see if that ever happens.
Well, I mean, it does happen a bit as Nicole goes and talks to Christmas. They have a little heart-to-heart. She's saying that her name has been circulated, and Christmas, that Christmas's name has been circulating around the house. Christmas guest, oh, it's Dani. Dani's doing the dirty deeds here, targeting her. Nicole does hope that being honest with Christmas will win her favor and direct Christmas and Dani against each other and not herself, so she can shy away from the Dani torpedoes that are going on in the house. Clearly all done by Dani. Of course, one of Dani's biggest moves that had gotten Nicole in such a position was, of course, the whole Davon situation with her having to do the vote. Ultimately, that was a really selfish move on, selfish move. Well, not selfish on Dani's part. I mean, it was smart on her part to get Nicole to do it, but Nicole should have saw that was a really bad move for her game, especially to get rid of Ian, and at least putting Dani in that position would have got Dani a lot more heat on her, thus already shying away from any people trying to vote Nicole anywhere anytime soon. So I'm glad Nicole is realizing that for sure, and happy about that. Happy she's finally playing the game and realizing it, because Dani does seem a bit manipulating, and Nicole seems like a little bit of a pushover. She'll just So I'm glad she's finally standing up.
We know that Dani and Nicole kind of have a relationship outside of the house, but Dani chose Nicole for a reason as her right hand, I think.
And I feel like maybe this relationship is the same outside of the house.
That would not surprise me.
That would not surprise me either. And I honestly think it's going to hurt their relationship afterwards. Because I feel like
Yeah.
now Nicole is kind of seeing how much of, how maybe she doesn't respect Nicole as much as a best friend should. You know, seeing that she's really not taking her feelings into consideration and so on. So, big brothers can make relationships, but they also can break it. So, Nicole found love in this house. She's also going to now perhaps potentially lose a best friend in this house. So, we shall see.
We'll see. She might also just forgive it because it's game
And whatever. It's
a
true.
few grudges for a few weeks and then everything will be all right.
Yeah, that's valid. David and Kevin chat, and Kevin tells him of his certainty that he's the target. Enzo talks to David as well and encourages him, hey, go hard at this veto. He wants to see the house start to truly turn on each other, and he's down for this. He even goes in the diary room, like, come on, man. Like, he's
He's bored. I was like, thank you, Enzo. Like,
Yeah.
this is the type of things I was kind of expecting from Enzo kind of all season, but he
Mhm.
got himself into a really nice spot, didn't really want to risk that, because that's kind of what got him in his season, kind of got him in trouble and eventually evicted. So yeah, now he's bored and things aren't exciting. He goes into this pep talk with David, and I'm like, yes. I was like, let's see something happen. Like, you can get Cody on board with this. Like, Cody's ready to
Yeah.
backdoor Christmas. We can do this.
We can do this. Yeah.
We can do this.
And I mean, there's not, and at this point too, like, take shots.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. You just have Kevin and David. Like, they're not gonna do anything. Just take shots at your people. It's gonna happen. It's not like there's gonna be some random invisible shield that's gonna protect everybody and then you all win. No, you're gonna have to take shots at each other, and that is that. I can't wait to see Enzo's last season. What was season 5, season 4, season 6, maybe? I don't know. I gotta check that. But I'm really curious. I don't remember how he played on his. Oh,
he was just a wrecking ball and a total mess.
Really? Okay.
But a very entertaining one to watch.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. There you go. So in the backyard, Kevin and David connect when Kevin brings up how his biracial identity is often misperceived, being black and Japanese. And that toll takes on him. So first of all, whoa, I didn't know this at all.
So yeah, I want to apologize because I definitely was guilty of this. I actually had to go look it up. So I made the assumption that Kevin was Latina.
Yes.
And
did you say Latina as opposed to Latino?
Yeah, Latino.
Okay.
Latinx, whatever you want to say, Latino. So I mistakenly thought Kevin was Latino. His husband is, I believe, but yeah, no, that was totally on me. I felt awful when I heard that. And his comment about how I always get othered. And I think this is a really common experience from people who are biracial or they have, characteristics that aren't associated with dominant traits, and yeah, it was really emotional to hear from him, and to be othered in so many ways, right, with his ethnicity, not feeling welcome on either side. I'm sure his Japanese heritage does make this also very difficult for him, so he's not connected there, and LGBTQ, the whole kind of gamut. Being othered it's tough.
And it's so weird, right? Because then they also show, like, when Devon was talking to him about saying, oh, the black people need to stick together, and then he felt like weirded out, but like he wasn't part of that because he is half black. And I'm like, and I completely understand where he is coming from, because he doesn't look black or Japanese. He does look more Latino, or some kind of, maybe even somewhere in Europe or maybe South America, but he doesn't look Japanese or black at all. And I was just like, oh man, like, dude, that's gotta suck. You can't go to any of your heritages because no one's gonna really bring you in because you don't look like them, so to speak, kind of thing. Like, I definitely feel for him. That's gotta suck.
And that's where like the tribal instincts of humans, and the issues that we're talking about in a daily basis right now. All of this plays a role in that. And yeah, I can't imagine being Kevin in that moment when Davon and David are talking about making sure that a person of color makes it to the end, and then to be openly not included in that conversation. I'm surprised he didn't say something sooner, to be honest.
Well, that's it. And I'm like, dude, but why didn't you have, like, how is she gonna know? You know what I mean? How would you, no one's gonna know that you're black and Japanese.
And no one's gonna ask.
And no one's gonna really ask. They're just gonna assume something, right? So
Yeah.
I would have brought that to, when Davon said that, be like, well, what do you mean? I'm half black, and I'm half Japanese. But he didn't say anything. I'm sure he might have mentioned, I guess not, because he just he just opened up to David completely about it. And David's response was really stupid, I feel. Like, I don't think, he's not the most empathetic person to speak with. He doesn't show empathy very well.
Yeah. No, he was just like, well, you're just
be Kevin.
And part of me wonders if that's how, he's dealt with his otherness. I don't know, what community he comes from or anything, right? From David's perspective. So that just might be how David has dealt with being othered. It's just like, just be yourself. There's nothing else you can do.
Which is true. Which also is a valid point. Like, if you don't have to, but at the same time, that's just your roots. A lot of people don't know who they are because they don't know of their roots, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's a toss either way in that regard. But yeah, could have been more empathetic than just be yourself. I mean, I guess those are some Dr. Phil words for you, but still. So I really thought that was interesting and definitely curious. I really like these conversations, though. Like, they really have to keep doing that, because it shows us more about how these people are and the human behaviors and their backgrounds. I really enjoy. That's why I like Big Brother. And now I had to, I guess, dissect more myself, but now I'm getting more info from the house guest talking and so on, and bringing up these topics. And I'm like, yes, this is what I came for. And boy, did I miss a lot of things from previous seasons, because I had to dissect it, and I'm not the greatest one to do that. Yeah.
One step at a time.
One step at a time.
No judgment, all learning.
Yeah, all learning, absolutely. So ultimately, so now we officially know why Cody is the stupidest person in the house.
Such a great scene.
He doesn't know what people from New Jersey are called, and apparently has no concept of what people from other states identify as either, as he thought a Texan was an animal.
Which it is. The Texas Longhorn is an animal.
But I mean, a Texas Longhorn is different.
I'm assuming that they refer to them as Texans in Jersey, obviously.
Okay. Yeah. So, and he just was completely like, this is a made up thing. Like, no, dude. Like, have you been living under? Have you not went to other places? Have you not spoken to people? I mean, it's not really a conversation that necessarily comes up a lot. I don't know. I couldn't tell you where I've learned this from, but I know it's a thing. I didn't know certain ones, like a Carolinian. Like, I didn't know that I would
Carolinian. Yeah.
I think that was it.
And it is New Jerseyan. In case anybody wants to know and didn't Google it, it is New Jerseyan.
It is New Jerseyan. See, that's not so cool. But like a New Yorker, like, that's a person from New York. It's not. His whole reasoning was, no, but I'm from America and I live in this state. I'm like,
I'm American and I'm from New Jersey.
And I'm like, okay, I could see what you mean by that. But come on, bud.
This was a new concept to him. It's really funny.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Definitely better than the Mornings with Memphis, which we only saw one episode of. But yeah, I certainly enjoyed that. And I hope they make a montage of all of Cody's stupidities at the end, when they're all like discussing, like, oh, remember when this happened? And da da da.
There's got to be a montage of all of the things Cody keeps IQ has gone from 10 to 25.
Yes, that's great. Knowledge is power. It doesn't matter how high you get, as long as you take strides and steps to get there. Boom. So when it comes time to pick players for the veto competition, Cody picks Nicole, Kevin picks Tyler, and David picks a house guest choice and chooses Enzo. So he basically chose Enzo because Enzo gave him that pep talk and said, okay, you know, if anyone's going to save me, it's going to be Enzo. So,
and he's probably right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Christmas is still irritated and mad again because she's never been chosen to play in a veto and lets everybody know about it. She starts crying and goes to her bed. At least she says, guys, listen, I'm just being emotional. Like, don't bother with me. But it's cool that you see all the house guests come and hug her and all that.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, you know, like there's no, she even knew it was a stupid reason to be to be mad. But, you know.
Again, but then we see, you know, like we said earlier, that wall is coming down, super competitive. She's getting a little bit aggressive, in my opinion. Yeah, she's it's interesting. It's interesting to see her. This is an interesting way to unravel. I think at this point in the game, it's really normal for us to see Big Brother house guests kind of unravel. You know, those masks come off, things get really, you know, high pressure. But yeah, this is an intense one of those.
That's it. So she's definitely showing her emotions more. And so while she goes and shows her emotions, wise guy number one, which is Memphis, Cody, and Enzo, chat about the importance of winning the veto. But secretly, as we mentioned, Enzo wants to win and take down a nominee off and forced to shake up the alliances. So, of course, at this point, I was rooting for Enzo to win. And
Me too, of course.
Of course. And I totally forgot Otev was here. And always glad to see different types of Otevs. This time around, we got the psychedelic salamander who threw a raging party and is now missing his tie-dye t-shirts, which features evicted house guest band names on them. And he wants the players to go and search for those tie-dye t-shirts of the evicted house guest that he is looking for. And so Otev, as you know, you have to go and search for your things. That's kind of the whole ordeal. And you have to go up this ramp, which is very slippery. And then every round, there's always a cushion missing. So that's how people get eliminated. So try not to be the last one up the ramp. So David didn't care. He's on the block and he didn't care. He finds $10,000 and decides to just grab that. And yeah, so David's out first round.
So things to note, so things to put in context here. So it's David and Cody, because this will become relevant later. So David and Cody are the last two looking. David doesn't think he's going to find the shirt, and we see him in the outtake saying, so I just grabbed the shirt and went up. What I don't understand is why he didn't take a cushion, because I'm pretty sure he could have eliminated himself and Cody.
So no, I don't think you can though. If you take the $10,000, you're out of the game.
It's the wrong one. Okay.
It's the wrong shirt.
Fine.
So that's it.
I
so
thought
Cody
about it a little
that.
bit too much.
Yeah. So Cody saw that. He's like, oh, he took the 10 grand. Okay, I'll just casually go search for this shirt. Because that's it. Because when he asks, okay, what shirt did you bring, Otev? I brought you a $10,000 shirt. Nope, not the answer I'm looking for. Bye-bye, David.
Yeah.
Or bye-bye, dude. I don't know. You know, I don't know what he said. He said a bunch of cool Calabunga.
That's bogus.
That's bogus, bro.
Bogus, bro.
So this gives Cody the chance, like we mentioned. And so David wins a $10,000 prize. And everyone is super, Christmas. Well, everyone is shocked, really, by it.
And Christmas lost it.
Christmas just lost it. Like, really, dude? Like, you're going to definitely get evicted now.
She kicked the set.
Yeah.
She lost it. I mean, it's a bubble set, but still.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
She's I don't know, man. Something's up with her. I don't know if she's like off her meds or something.
It's the pressure cooker. It's the pressure cooker of Big Brother.
Oh, jeez. But I felt like she was so much more easygoing on her last season. Like, I know she was
She
hurt.
is freaking out.
Wow,
She's freaking
man.
out. She's freaking out. There's no other explanation.
But
She can't think, like, it's gotten to the point, and I think part of this was she was also not selected, right? So she wants to play so bad and she's so competitive, and then to have someone not play, I think just like insulted her, salt in the wound kind of situation. Like, I want to play, and she wants to play because she has been talking to Nicole. She thinks she's going to be a replacement nominee, so she's worried, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think it rubs her the wrong way, but uncalled for reactions.
For sure. So Tyler is out next. Kevin, after a close call with Cody, ends up leaving. That was really close though. Like, oh my God, Kevin and
Very
Cody
close.
were like down to the edge. And unfortunately, Cody's a beast and just runs up that slippery hill like a champ. And Kevin is out. Nicole is slipping her way through life as she is trying her darndest to get up there, but she can't. She could have won like that round, and Cody ended up finding it and got up there, and both Cody and Enzo end up bringing her up via the rope.
Sliding her up. Honestly, it was cute. It was funny. It was so Nicole.
Yeah.
It sucks that she was eliminated. Of course, she wanted to win to make sure that Christmas doesn't end up on the block. But yeah, it was adorable, and our New Jerseyans just do the fireman pull and get her up
that's it.
to end the round.
Typical New Jerseyan thing to do. So typical.
So typical.
In the end, though, Cody finds the final shirt before Enzo, and thus Cody has now been the power player of this week by not only winning HOH, but also winning the power of veto. Whoop, whoop. So several house guests talk amongst themselves about David's misstep, of course, with choosing the 10K. Cody tells David his game move may have shifted target from Kevin to him. And now David is kind of realizing, oh no, what did I do? Maybe I shouldn't have went after the 10K. But
yeah,
honestly,
it seems this 10K put a target on my back. Yeah. Again, you've clearly never watched the show.
That's it. And so the thing is, you know what? At first I was like, bro, what are you doing so wrong of you? And I'm like, you know what, man? You weren't going to win anyway. At least you got not win the game. Well, maybe that not either. But I mean, like, bro, you saw that you were up against Cody. You know, you're always on the block. I probably would have done that too. Like, man,
honestly, I agree. I mean, like, I don't judge him or fault him at all for doing that. You know, he knew Kevin was the target. I think that he was a bit naive on not realizing that going for it first round when he had a shot to win. I think he didn't realize the total impacts of it. But at the end of the day, yeah. I mean, I think he knew that he was not going to end up in those final two chairs at this point in the game. I think he kind of sees that or understands it. So, yeah, you take the 10K and call it a day.
That's it. So at first I was like, oh, I can't wait to go on the podcast. I'm going to blast him. And then throughout the week or Thursday's episode, I was just kind of like, you know what, man? Like, whatever. Like, at least you got 10K in your pocket. Like, maybe, again, just maybe towards the end of the rounds, not the first round was a bit much. That, I think, really solidified your target in that regard. I kind of wonder, if you were going to be the last one to get the t-shirt and then you just go and grab the 10K, would you then have actually won it? Or do you have to be one of the people to go on the bench? So that's where you were kind of alluding to at the beginning.
Yeah. So I think this is why I was a little bit confused, because I'm like, I would think that you would have to like make it to the cushion in order to get it. So why not stay on the cushion and eliminate someone else? But maybe you don't have to. Maybe if you get the 10K, you get the 10K. I don't know.
That's it. So I was just more curious of, okay, do you still get the 10K if there's no cushion left and you go up last?
Maybe not. Maybe that's not the catch.
So maybe that's the catch. So that would make sense in his eyes then too. So, you know, I wasn't mad. I was ready to blast him, but I'm like, nah, man. Like, you got 10K. Enjoy that. I truthfully, there was no way he was going to win this season.
No way.
Too many.
And there's no way he wasn't making it to finale night either.
Yeah, that's it. So take that 10K, be happy. That's great. So far, so we have Dani winning money, Tyler winning money, Devon winning money, courtesy of Nicole, and David winning the most, 10 grand.
Yeah.
Like a boss.
Like
so after that, Cody decides not to use the power of veto, keeping the nominations the same. Yeah, you knew that was going to happen. Well, I mean, I still thought maybe Christmas, too.
Well, I was hoping that he would just pull the trigger and do it, but he doesn't, and stay the same. And I think the nasty conversation with Kevin kind of made him go, nah.
That's it. Well, I thought what he was going to do is take David off and kind of save him. Be like, all right, because now I'm just scared everyone's going to vote David off because of the 10K. So let me go put... let me put Christmas up there, say she's a pond, and then kind of be all safe about it. Well, don't worry, Christmas, no one's gonna vote you out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which would have been much more entertaining as viewers. Probably not a good game move for Cody. And Cody was coaching David all week to try to make sure that those votes didn't accidentally go the wrong way. So yeah. Fair.
Yeah. So. David and Cody chat in the HOH suite as we start episode 25. And Cody basically tells David, you should be nervous because grabbing the 10K like that was a bad move. Cody still says he wants Kevin evicted, but worries now David is the swayed houseguest choice. Kevin does try to patch up things with Cody. He tries to patch up the relationship. He apologizes for the awkward conversation that they had. And Cody now wonders if Kevin is the best person to, in fact, target this week. So, see, it's amazing what communication does, though. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. And I could see Kevin be a weird conversationist person. It could be very awkward, especially if he's in his own head and in his emotions, and you can clearly tell he's an emotional guy and so on. But at least he did that, because I'm like, smart move, Kevin. At least apologize to the guy. Like, there was no reason for what you said to begin with. You were just talking clearly out of emotions, and at least now you have a legit shot to potentially stay. Mm-hmm. So the house guests get a message from their neighbor, Dr. Will, who cryptically, I've never used that word in my life, who cryptically advises them to plan 3 steps ahead. So this got people going crazy. Oh my God, there's going to be a double eviction. Only David was the one that was like, there's going to be unless it's a triple eviction.
Has that ever happened? Like, he's asking like if that's ever been done. Memphis says nah, and then maybe.
So. He's like, oh, well, 3 steps ahead. That makes sense. So several of the house guests feel sure. Like with the double eviction, as we said, so that everyone's kind of starting to plan now. So that's kind of weird how they kind of alluded that with Dr. Will. With why would you mention this 3 steps ahead thing? Why are you going to make people think that there's a...
Well, they have to do something to get the committee talking, right? So, because at this point, right, if it's 3 steps ahead, we have committee plus Enzo, and Enzo's basically part of the committee. He just doesn't know it. And, so this is... They realize, we're going to have to turn on each other. Like, 3 moves ahead is someone in my alliance. So I think it was more to kind of open those cracks that exist in the committee, just with a little bit of paranoia, a little bit of conversations, and we see that with some of the things that are happening, in the episode.
That's it. So Enzo throws out the idea to Cody of nominating Memphis based on his double wise guy maneuver, and they were talking about the whole double eviction thing. However, Cody is still kind of like... So Cody actually thinks Tyler is the better target as a fierce competitor, which is very interesting.
It's about time. I'm so surprised these two have been working together for so long, actually. But I think they have different types of social games.
They do.
So I don't think they actually recognized it in each other until kind of it got down to this point, because they were so focused on using the other one as a shield, right? As long as he's in the house, I can defer, I can deflect.
Yeah, that's it. So they're kind of protecting each other. So it was a smart move to make them. Cody was the one that said with him Tyler final 2, right? Or no, it was just Cody, Enzo, and Tyler. They said
final 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would still maybe keep them, because as long as they're all in there, they can all deflect each nom off of each other. Like, no, go for him. He's the stronger one. Kind of like what Nicole had with Ian. You know, Nicole wanted Ian to stay because everyone would deflect to try and get Ian out.
As long as there's always 2 former winners, yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. So Tyler hopes David will stay to help target Nicole and Dani if it's a double or triple eviction. Tyler is obviously still in that bag. He's been wanting Dani out for a hot minute now, way before she had put him up like 2 weeks ago. Or was that last week? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he straight up lies to her face, her and Nicole. So.
Yeah, no, that's it. You know, Tyler lies that he wouldn't target Dani. And yeah, of course, you know, but she did the same thing. So whatever. Liars, you know, that's it. Do you want to play that
remember
game?
Like what we said, was it last week or the week before? They're actually playing very similar games, the two of them. Oh, this was when they had their big blow up several weeks ago now. Is like, you know, they're playing very, very similar games. It just presents a little bit differently. So they have different flavors, but very similar games. So
I feel like he has a lot less seed planting though.
I wouldn't. Well, not actually. Yes. So this goes back, like all the way back when we did like the cast review, where this is how Tyler uses the information is different than Dani. So Dani goes in and plants falsehoods to try to get people going, where Tyler uses information that was given to him, true or not, whether he believes it or not, and so he uses it differently.
Okay, fair. So almost kind of the same thing, still planting seeds, but planting seeds of information rather than seeds of doubt.
And yeah, rather than seeds of doubt or chaos, yeah.
Or chaos. Okay, fair. Yeah, I mean, both very different. I definitely prefer. More so prefer Tyler's way of playing, though. A lot more chillant. She's just Dani is just more vindictive. I don't like it. I find it too crazy. But yeah. With that,
okay.
Yeah. So Julie's telling the viewers that she's keeping the triple eviction secret for now, and then Julie gives Kevin and David a chance to sway the house guests with a final speech. Kevin tells the house guests if he stays, he is happy to work with them. David speaks to being the second male African-American house guest to make it to jury, but says he has bigger goals and hopes to accomplish them. So it was very weird. I'm like, bro, you're already going to be saying, like, you're going to make it to jury? Like, no, you're trying to sway the people to, like, keep you.
Yeah. I mean, like, another rookie move. Just like if anybody wants to know how a rookie plays Big Brother, just watch David's game.
Yep.
I think it's magnified because he's playing in an All-Star season. Maybe it wouldn't be quite so obvious if he wasn't in an All-Star season, but, you know, rookie.
Yep, that's it. Well, apparently the house guests don't think it's that much of a rookie move because Kevin gets voted out 6-0. Unanimous. And I think it was just the whole conversation maybe towards the beginning, because we don't know when that conversation happened in terms of Kevin apologizing either, right? So maybe that happened too little too late. Everything was kind of already set in stone. He was leaving. Maybe he only did the apology because he heard that it was going to be unanimous. Because it seems like we already kind of know. Everyone already kind of knows by eviction night what's going to happen, what's going down. So no one's really shocked. So maybe it was just too little, too late. Julie gives Kevin the news and gives the news, and without any hugs to his fellow house guest. Oh, so he didn't want to hug anyone. He says, "I'll hug you all on finale night." Kevin basically says, "Listen, I don't want to hug anyone there. They're all fake." Um, he speaks to the struggles in this year's game and his 5 times on the block, and how different that is to the first time around when he did make it to Final Three. Um, Julie commends him on the important conversations that he had in the house. He is thrilled and emotional to know that those conversations aired, and he has been able to represent various communities.
Yes.
I do like it.
Warm and fuzzy exit.
Warm and fuzzy exit. Um, I'm not a huge fan on him not hugging anybody. Like, okay, bro, sure, the house maybe might be fake, but so are you. You only technically go to people when you are in trouble and you need them. So
yeah.
maybe be a bit more of a social gamer when you're in a game like Big Brother, so you don't have to defend for yourself every week in that regard. I think when he said that, he was being a bit of a hypocrite. Like, bro, just hug everybody. Your game's over. It's done.
I don't know. I don't know about this whole hugging people at the end. Like, I think it's the classy, right, traditional thing to do.
Right.
I don't know. I probably would get up on a unanimous vote. I don't know if I would hug anybody. I think it's like nice game. Go to the jury. Like, we'll talk when this shitstorm's over. But you're right about Kevin just saying, everything's fake in there, Lola, and he created that for himself. So
legit created it for himself. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it is triple eviction. So we'll go right to the HOH competition, which is called "It's All About Will," which, I'm down for it. Anything about Will is always awesome. So it's called "It's All About Will," where the house guests have to answer questions about their neighbor, Dr. Will, and his appearances over the last week. Memphis alone answers the final question correctly and wins the head of household. Bunch of questions. Did Will wear slippers throughout the 3 times you saw him? Was he
his
holding
pocket
a
in his
mug?
hand?
I don't know if his pocket was in his hand. That'd be
Right.
weird.
That's weird. Hand was in his pocket.
Absolutely.
And color of the writing on the mug. How many times did he wink? And I think this is the question that Memphis went on, maybe.
That's it, which was 3, which I got too. I was like, oh snap, look at me go. And then
Congratulations, good for you.
Oh, thank you. I win nothing. So that's it. So Memphis has to give 2 nominations right away, and he immediately puts up David, shocker, and Nicole.
Yeah.
And Nicole. So that's weird. I don't know why he wouldn't maybe put up Dani. Maybe I guess he's more closer with Dani.
Yeah, I think he also, Nicole's a pretty safe nominee.
Oh, valid. True. Because, of course, he wants David out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, they go straight to the power of veto. The power of veto is called Ice in Your Veins. And each house guest has to make their way across a balance beam, complete a puzzle, return across the balance beam, and be the first to finish. Anyone who does fall into the lava is eliminated. That's right, guys. It's real hot lava. You die instantly. No, it's obviously fake, but I always like that. Well, what is that game?
Well, it's like Don't Touch the Floor. The floor is lava that you play when you're a kid, and you put cushions everywhere, and living room becomes the obstacle course. Mom hates you for it,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And Christmas, hold on,
is selected for the veto. She's drawn.
Yes, that's it. So Christmas is finally selected for the veto, and we don't see her get picked, but she gets randomly picked, and she actually wins the power of veto. And house guests head inside to hold a very quick meeting with Christmas, and he's talking to everybody. Nicole and David each get a chance to sway Christmas and tell them they hope she will use the veto on them, but understand her if she doesn't. Ultimately, Christmas decides not to use the power of veto, so she finally wins one, and she doesn't get to use it. I bet you she's still going to be mad because everything is super rush, and she couldn't really bask in the win.
Probably.
Julie gives both Nicole and David a chance to sway the house guests. Nicole hardly knows what to say, and David speaks to having more game left in him to play. Christmas and Tyler are the sole votes to evict Nicole, while the other 3 votes for David are for David, rather. Julie gives the house guest the news that David is evicted from the Big Brother house, and Memphis could not be any more happier.
And so before the speeches, we have to talk about the oopsies by production.
Oh, that's when they find out, right?
So on the monitor, they're coming in for the final speeches, and the house guests see on the monitor triple eviction.
And everyone's like, oh my God, triple eviction.
And Nicole does mention in her speech, like, I don't know if we were supposed to see that it's a triple tonight, but la 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 la, really now nervous because it's triple, maybe I am going to go home. Honestly, I think had the house guests not seen that, Nicole might have gone home.
Yeah, it might have been maybe different. That's so an oopsies. And Julie did not say anything. Even when David came out and David was talking and he mentioned the triple eviction, she's like, I didn't say anything about triple eviction.
Yeah.
No, she's just trying so hard.
Such an oopsie. I really do think that is what saved Nicole.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, wouldn't you want to just maybe get her out and then maybe try and get her best friend out afterwards? I'm just saying it like that. I'm not saying because...
Well...
We'll get there.
Maybe.
So David goes out to speak to Julie, gathering his emotions because he kind of stops first. Julie asks David if he regrets taking the 10K, and he says that he doesn't, especially given how things went this evening. Well, duh. And David celebrates how much more game he has got to play than his last go round, and ultimately feels vindicated by winning in that dark room competition this year. And I was yes.
So glad. Yes, I'm so glad he took the moment to celebrate that he won the power. It felt so good in basically the exact same competition that got him banished in his season. So I'm glad he took that moment to celebrate that and honor that, and good for him. Good for him. I mean, all things considered, it's a tough chair to sit in, but he's in the jury. He's talking to Julie. He had the Big Brother experience. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we wanted to see from him. If we're bringing him back on an all-star season that he had no business playing on, at least he gets to have the check marks on his Big Brother experience.
Absolutely. Still would have preferred Josh, though.
I don't know. He cries too much.
I know.
But still.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. David didn't, honestly. So with David's game coming to an end, he wasn't going to win. I'm glad he won the 10K. Yeah, man. Like, guys, Big Brother, please don't bring, especially for All-Stars, don't bring like, I don't know, that'd be really bad. I was going to say, like, make one where people lose on night 1 or night 2 of the game. And make that a thing, because that would kind of be a new thing for everyone,
I think they did that on the previous All-Stars, where there were like 3 or 4 people that were like that really didn't get to play the game because of how they were eliminated. But there's one, because there's one house guest, I cannot remember her name for the life of me, but she was evicted in the first hour, the one with the coaches.
Oh, right.
In the first hour, she was eliminated.
I want to watch. Damn, yeah, her name is definitely escaping me for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember her name. But yeah, she got eliminated.
Well, you know who also can't remember names before we get on?
Who?
Christmas. So I don't know if you saw this or not, but it was just released that Christmas this was during when Davon was still there, and she was about to nominate Davon. Or no, this was when Davon was about to leave. Yeah. And she was having this conversation to herself. And she was just going through her head. And she was mentioning, oh, maybe I should tell Dominique about what Cody said to me, or whoever, I don't know who he said. Yeah. About what Cody said to me. And then the fans just flipped. The fans were like, whoa, why did she say Dominique? What was kind of going on? Like, why would... There's no Dominique playing. Like you clearly know her name is Devon.
So the reason this is a big deal is because Dominique was the African American female representation in Christmas's season.
Oh snap! Okay.
So
Yes.
this is why the fan base lost their mind. This is going on previous conversations that we've had with concerns about Christmas's behavior, and so she's also been referring to Devon in other conversations as Dominique post eviction of Devon. So yes,
snap.
mislabeling Mama Day for another player of African American descent from her season.
Okay, I forgot if Dominique was in Christmas's season. But they're so different.
They are so different. They're completely different women.
They're completely different.
Yeah.
Like what? Like maybe if they legit had the same
There's no
hair,
reason.
the same the same age. There's no reason. And I was like, I looked. I'm like, wait. Maybe people are just going crazy for nothing. And I'm like, no, they're so different.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense aside from you being racist here completely. Like, would you have mistaken Cody for, let's say, Howie? No. Or Cody for Memphis? Maybe they have the same physique. They're big, bulky. No, you wouldn't have. You know what I mean? Like, it's just stupid.
Or even Cody and Enzo. Like,
New Jersey kind of thing.
Yeah, like even that's closer, and you're not gonna make that mistake. So yeah, it's not a cool one, especially because Christmas played so many weeks with both women, and Devon being the one person who she had played with for several weeks, 7 weeks almost. So that's it's just not cool, and that's why the fan base is upset, rightfully so. For that to slip up.
And because she was having a conversation with herself, just makes it that much worse, because you can tell she's just thinking in her own head. So she's no filter. She's just spewing everything out. And then she just says, like, Dominique, like, no problem. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, oh, you racist human being.
And we're all guilty of this. Like sometimes, like we're all guilty of this, using the wrong name. I mean, heck, I did it last week when we're talking about the hosts of the shows, right? So we're all guilty about doing this. Like, it's not like I actually confused Arissa and Julie. Like, I obviously know that they're different hosts. My brain just wasn't there. But it's because of the repeat occurrences of it.
That's it. So that's the issue. People confuse names all the time. That's kind of thing. Like, I don't know if she would have said, she would have mixed Devon and Danny. Like, she would have just said Danny's name. Like, okay, that could happen. Like, you mess up a name sort of deal. You're just thinking and whatever. People mishap. But the fact that you mishapped on a person that's not even in this house with you, that you've been knowing names for 3 months, like, there's no reason why you would have thought of Dominique at all to begin with.
Exactly.
Aside from her being on your team, her being her on your not team but season, her being African American and everything like that, and then just mixturing the two because you don't care to learn these people's names. Like, that's it, and that's why I think kind of they blew the gasket. But I just wanted to mention that there because I thought it was a good leeway into not knowing certain names. So with that, we have the second head of household competition. And this one, first one was all about Will, but this one, it's all about you. And this is where the house guests have to answer true or false questions about things that have happened in their game. Tyler becomes the new head of household, correctly answering all of Julie's questions. And both Dani and Nicole quickly pull him aside and start talking. Hey, they're afraid that they're going to be targets. Please don't target us. Please don't target us. Their suspicions are correct, though, as Tyler nominates Dani and Nicole for eviction, which I'm sure he was super proud about.
Yeah, and they were the only two that talked to him, or at least the only two we saw that talked to him. And he didn't really say anything, just kind of, he took this time to apologize to Nicole, and he threw it on Memphis, saying, I thought this was what Memphis wanted. So I thought that was the most interesting thing about that conversation. Trying to say, I'm sorry I voted,
Oh yeah, that I didn't get. What?
because he was trying to cover up that he and Christmas voted Nicole out, but Nicole stayed.
Oh right, okay.
So he I'm so sorry. I thought that's what Memphis wanted, which I thought was an interesting move, and I would like to see how this unfolds. Either in the outtakes that we always see following a high intensity episode like this, or long term with the Nicole Memphis situation. Like, why would Tyler think that that's what you wanted?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Or maybe Tyler is just now pulling a Dani and starts blaming people.
Maybe.
Or his information tactic. Maybe we'll see. Maybe Memphis told him something.
I'm guessing the latter.
Yeah, that's it. So the second POV competition is called Feet to the Fire, which is another lava game. The only difference is you now have to bring it back to the other side, and if you fall in the lava, you still die again. So, so they have to correctly put it back on the other side, and Christmas and Nicole both fall off the balance beam and are eliminated. Christmas is very angry. Tyler accomplishes the goal first, winning the golden power of veto.
He is destroying these competitions.
Yeah,
destroying them.
No
Cody
problem.
is properly intimidated.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Cody realized, man, we should probably get him out quick, even before the final three, because this guy will definitely make it into the first spot, and me and Enzo are going to have to fight each other. So I would definitely look at getting him out soon. Nicole and Dani each get a chance to persuade Tyler to use the veto, but both see the fertility in it. And while Nicole asks to be taken off the block, Dani uses the time instead to speak to her family back home. And this is where Tyler's like, okay, then I will decide not to use the power of veto. Screw you, Dani. Defend yourself to the other house guests, because I don't care for you. Doesn't say this, just thinking it. And yeah, anything on there on Dani's move to do that? I guess
it doesn't really matter, but I think it does matter when we talk about eviction speeches, because maybe I would have gone a little feistier on the veto one. Smarter, not the same speech, but feistier on the veto one to kind of get something out there. She's been planting seeds of doubt. Harvest something. Just harvest anything you've been planting all season.
So we'll get there. The final eviction vote of the night begins with Nicole and Dani's speeches. Nicole isn't sure what to say, as usual, but urges the house guest to keep her. Dani, on the other hand, accuses Tyler and Christmas of a final two and makes it apparent who she will be targeting if she stays. So this is where she could have got a little bit more feistier too. Really call a bunch of things that you've been planting, bro. This is your time. I don't know why you just called two though. You're going down to 6. Call out 3 people or 4 people. Call out 3 people. So this, you have a defending side kind of thing. It's 3 versus 3. Make yourself 2 separate alliances sort of deal.
Yeah. And so I think that she obviously couldn't use that to try to get the veto used on her. But this is where I'm you do something that makes Tyler and Christmas go, oh shit, we need Dani. Mm-hmm. So even if they don't use the veto in that moment, they at least consider the votes a little bit more seriously. Because Nicole's speeches are nothing. They're air. Yeah. But if you're going to use that platform, I think that using it in a situation like this on your veto is a better move, because you're either going to put the nail in the coffin or you're going to save yourself. And I think that it would happen at the veto speech more so than the eviction speech.
Okay, so you're saying she should have called them out on the veto speech.
Yep. Yeah. Given some time for people to think about it.
Yeah, that's valid because they were all under pressure and really tired. So,
Mhm.
for sure. So Dani is though evicted by unanimously 4-2-0, and I'm a happy camper. I'm done with her cockiness. She played a very good game. You know, she planted seeds, but she was ultimately playing too fast, too soon, and she was just causing a whole lot of ruckus. But to be fair, I think this is the best game she's played.
Yeah, and I was thinking the same thing. So going into Thursday's episode, so knowing that we're going into a triple eviction, I really was thinking like if Dani survives this, she's played the best game.
Yeah.
And that's really where I was with her. Again, you know, kind of same boat as her. She's like as you, sorry, like her game's really cocky. Not a huge fan of her. I mean, I've been calling her mean girl since the very beginning. Those sentiments haven't changed, but I can recognize the game.
Yeah, no, she definitely she definitely went all out. I think this was her most. She really was feisty and was really planting a bunch of seeds. Like I don't remember her doing that. Well, for certainly not her first season, but her second season, I don't remember. I still remember her being somewhat silent. She was a little bit more out there, but this one she really played the game, but she unfortunately played it way too quick and
Yeah,
showed her
so
hands way too much.
every time she's played, her game has gotten more overt. I don't think her game itself has actually changed, other than the evolution where she is a little bit more confident in her strategy, and I think it's a very similar strategy to what she's played before. But because she's more confident in it, she got a little sloppy, played a little bit too hard, and ultimately it made her an easy target when the committee starts breaking down.
Dare I say she's maybe even better than Janelle?
Yes, minus the self-admittance that she could not win comps. But I would argue that yes, Dani is a better game player than Janelle. And fandom hate me, I don't care. I've never been a Janelle fan. Woohoo, she wins comps, whatever. I do think Dani is a better player than Janelle.
I mean, I think at the age that they are now, that Dani is because Janelle didn't
definitely.
do anything this
Neither
season.
of them could win competitions.
Neither could win competitions. I think early Janelle was an absolute beast, but for some reason this Janelle just wasn't in it to win it. Still thinking about that DJ competition that she failed at miserably. But yeah. So I think at this rate, Dani does beat Janelle, and I'm a huge Janelle fan. So I'm sorry, Janelle, if you ever randomly listen to this or care. My apologies.
She don't care about you.
It's fine.
Whatever.
Jedi
Strong,
Janie,
beautiful woman.
She will always be Jedi Janie to me. Okay, Howie, where you at? Give me a holler. So she joins, so basically Dani joins Julie outside of the BB house. She tells Julie about how she'd never felt safe with Tyler and Christmas and that she thinks they must see her as a bigger threat than Nicole, clearly. Overall, Dani speaks at how much fun she has had playing All-Stars and how much she absolutely loves the game. Yeah, good speech. I mean, you know, she just spoken like a true fan. And she just loves everything about Big Brother, and I'm almost certain she'll, if they ever ask her back, she'll definitely do it again. It's in her blood, and I think Evil Dick kind of gave that mantra to her of just, you know, being a complete big BB fanatic.
Oh, definitely. Runs in the family, for sure.
Runs in the family. I'm surprised Evil Dick wasn't called back. Maybe he doesn't want to do it anymore either, though. He kind of just likes his position of doing all the shows and whatever. Yeah. Julie congratulates the remaining house guests on surviving the harrowing evening, and confirms to them that there will be no jury battle back, meaning that one of the remaining six house guests will indeed be the winner of Big Brother All-Stars. So, of course, we have Christmas, Cody, Nicole, Enzo, Memphis. Oh my God!
There's Tyler. So we have Memphis, Cody, Enzo. We have Tyler, Christmas, and Nicole.
Right. Okay. That's it. Perfect. I don't know why I was. Damn it. I'm sorry, Tyler. Yeah. So, who do you recall who was your person to pick to win
I
it?
picked Enzo.
Oh snap. Okay, so your boy Enzo's still in there. All right.
Yeah, my pick's still in there, and I did change my mind, so I kind of want to go back and see who my first pick was, because it might have been Cody or Tyler. So really, I'm sitting in great shape. Your pick went home week 2.
Damn it, Nicole. One job.
And I
then-
think Steph chose Ian, maybe? I don't know. But she's not here.
Yeah, so we'll ask Steph afterwards. Either way, we're definitely going to break it all down, and I'll have recaps of what we said before, too, and all that. I guess if I had to, honestly, out of these 6, I don't know, man. Like, Enzo or Tyler for me, because I feel like they're the best games.
I think Tyler is in the best position to win. I would still love to see Enzo win. So I picked Enzo for kind of the warm and fuzzy. I like him as a good dude. He causes a lot of chaos, and I was just hoping that would come through in the season. It hasn't, but we've still had those Enzo moments. So just as like a human, I would love to see Enzo win. As a player, I think Tyler is in the best shape to do it. Cody could win himself at the end, but not sitting next to Tyler. So we'll see how he plays that out. But I think those are my top 3 for sure, with Tyler being the lead.
That's it. It would be crazy to have Memphis and Cody as the final 2, and at least one of them is finally gonna win. That would be kind of awesome as well.
There would be some poetic beauty in that.
Yeah.
The number 1 of the number 2s.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So that's it. We'll certainly see what happens. These house guests definitely deserve a well-deserved break, though.
Yeah.
Gee golly, what a night! And it 2 hours went by so quick. I didn't even know what was going on anymore. I was exhausted, so I could only imagine how the house guests were in that regard. But yeah, that basically concludes your chaotic BB8 or BB week 8 week. Any, I guess, final thoughts?
Historic triple eviction. I don't know that I need to see that again. I think I would rather see 2 doubles in a season rather than a triple. Yeah. Yeah, I think like at the end of the day, like we kind of gave it a womp womp review at the beginning, going over the recap, talking about the things, little warmer about it. I'm really looking forward to what happens this week and kind of seeing the fallout of this. There might not be as much fallout as if some other choices were made. So a backdooring Christmas, for example, I think would have had some different fallouts. But yeah, I think we'll see what happens and watch the end of this season kind of wrap up in a nice little bow. No historic final 6, but
well,
can't get everything.
Historic in the sense that it's all committee members. So this is the only time we actually have a full-on alliance as the final 6.
No, it didn't happen because Danny's gone.
Yeah, but all of them were okay. But we're counting still Enzo as technically committee. No, if the triple eviction didn't happen, essentially we would have had the final alliance making it through the final thing. So essentially it happened. It's just triple eviction kind of ruined it, but the committee made it to the full alliance made it to the finals. We're counting Enzo in there because Enzo is pretty much in there.
He just doesn't know it.
He just doesn't know it, which is weird, but that's awesome at the same time. So, I'm still with the womp womp because honestly, if this didn't happen, we would have had another 2 weeks of boringness.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that doing a triple, I don't think the triple changed the game. I think it would have been the same 3 weeks.
Yeah, I really do. So I'm kind of happy in that regard that they did. And I felt like maybe that's Big Brother kind of knew that that's where they were all going. So they're like, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's triple eviction. If these fans are really going to tear us one if we keep this up. So I think for this case, triple eviction made sense because you wanted to at least force the house guests to make bolder moves, which they didn't do. But at least also, meanwhile, if they don't, at least get the fans to not have to see another 2 weeks of stupidities.
Yeah.
So now it forces them to actually play and go against each other. So about time we get some sort of excitement. I don't want to see another triple eviction though. I think it's way too much. I would like to maybe see a double eviction on 2 hours though. Just because I think give it a little bit more time, let it breathe a little bit more, and you can still do double eviction. Because the 2 hour is nice, but then adding 2 hours with triple eviction makes it kind of almost the same thing as 1 hour with double. So
honestly, I would love to see a 2-hour double eviction with a power.
Oh snap!
Because I want to see how players not just react under the time pressure, but their ability to improvise. So how quickly can they strategize? So a hidden power or maybe a double veto, like 2 winners on the veto. I want to see the longer time, but throw something else in there. I think 2 hours on a normal double with the way the new age Big Brother is not so exciting, but you need something to kind of twist it up, or do double evictions in back-to-back weeks.
Ooh, yeah. That honestly, yeah, I don't think I ever want to see a triple eviction again. It was just too much. Or double eviction back-to-back week would have made sense too. But yeah, it's it is what it is. Now finally we're gonna get some game, hopefully.
Yeah, let's see how they tear each other apart. Let's watch the hyenas go.
Enzo, this is where you got to do something, kid. You just gotta do whatever you want to do.
Turn up the chaos. Come on.
Beat that beat. Do that Jerseyan. You know what I mean?
I want it.
So that's it. It's So all in all, pretty crazy season. I guess final note would be that Big Brother's days are changing. It is now going to be Tuesday.
Monday,
Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. So Sunday nights are now officially changing to Mondays, which is cool, I guess. I don't mind that at all. Like whatever, sure. So it's great. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the final Big Brother episode. The finale is going to be on October 28th. So we essentially have 4 more weeks, and that's all she wrote. Because that's just Big Brother for you.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So September 30th was not friendship, rather, but Every Child Matters. I still didn't put that up, but I'm still going to put that there so people are informed.
Orange Shirt Day.
Orange Shirt Day. Hashtag Every Child Matters. What do you have this week for us? And I promise I'll put it in a timely fashion.
Oh, it's okay. This one's not time sensitive. I am going back to Rice for Ramadan, and the biggest reason for that is the rainy season is coming to a close. Confinement is up in Guinea, so artists are starting to work again, so it's really nice. But we have a bucket of money that still needs to go out. So if we don't make it to our goal, there's going to be some groups who get left out. So we are about $3,000 shy of getting all 21 percussion groups. And so really at this point now, it's about getting these artists stable. So now that we're able to work again, there's still, some trouble. We got some kids going back to school. Families are really tight. So this will just kind of ease that pressure and get back to normal, especially in the light of their federal election coming up. So if you do have anything to give, please do that. Otherwise, I imagine this campaign will be coming to a close very soon. So if it's something that you've been interested in, please donate.
Donate, do it. If you can, of course. All the links will be there if you want to read more up on it, and of course the donation page for that. As for me, it's the same old. You can follow me at JLB420 on Twitter. Rio Talk Radio is the brand, at Rio Talk Radio 8. Insta is at Rio Talk Radio Online. Anchor.fm/RTR is where all our stream stuff is, whether you like your Apples, your Spotifys, your iHearts, your Stitchers. They're all there. So whatever you like to listen Real Talk Radio on, you can go there. And and Anchor, and not Anchor, but realtalkradio.online, a website that will never be updated, is still there. I hope to be doing something soon. I'm trying to learn how to create a good website. So this is why I am taking forever with that. But no excuses. No one is here for those. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you, CICI, for joining me in this hellacious week of Big Brother. And
glad I could make
another one.
Here's to another week. Talk next week.
We'll talk next week. And until then, guys, ciao for now.
Bye.